What's up, guys? It's George, and I just picked up some more boxes of Diabetic test strips, and so I was just thinking about how much more I like this business model of flipping Diabetic test strips versus flipping phones, which is what I primarily used to do, flip phones. And so I decided I want to share 5 main reasons why I like flipping test strips more than the flipping phones business. I could think of a lot more than that, but just to keep it simple. So number 1, which is really arguably the most important, is profit margin. When I was flipping phones, after all expenses, everything like that, the profit, in order to stay competitive, the profit margin was, around, anywhere from 20% to 40% on the high end. Usually average about 30%. That's after all expenses and everything, from eBay's fee of reselling it and this and that. Usually would end up, 20 to 40% profit margin. just almost got me here, but but where flipping Diabetic test strips, my profit margin is 100% or more, and that's after all expenses. A lot of times it's even more than 100%. So I'm doubling my money. If I'm buying, right here, I just went around the corner. I just picked up, I just bought $70 worth of test strips. I'm easily gonna double my money. I'll flip this for 140. Like that. So number 1, profit margin. Number 2, which number 1 almost kind of ties into number 2, is less risk. Because I remember a lot of times whenever I was buying stuff, flipping phones and electronics, I was always kind of nervous. And the reason why is because sometimes you don't find out you got a lemon until you got home. And I remember I had one time where I bought a really nice phone. I forget what it was, Samsung something, spent like $300, and the guy gave me a ridiculously good deal. But it was interesting. This person, it was the second time they'd come back to me that day. I'd bought something earlier from the day, and then they came back later in the day, and so I kind of trusted them. I didn't inspect the phone as much, but it ended up being a completely fake phone. It was real and everything, but I'd never seen anything like it. It was some kind of knockoff brand, and never heard from the guy or anything. I even filed a police report and everything, but didn't really do anything. And so that's the thing with electronics and phones. You may buy it, and then all of a sudden you get home and you find out there was something you overlooked, a password Apple locked, or it's reported as lost, stolen, black, listed, all kinds of different things where I used to have a checklist of things I would check to make sure it met the criteria, but just sometimes things would slip through the cracks, and you get home and you realize that it's not exactly what you thought you were going to buy. And because the profit margin was so low that you just kind of wasted your time and money. And when I was buying phones, they're anywhere from buying a phone from $200 to $500 or more. You're putting up a lot of money. It's a lot of money you're putting up for all on one deal, and so it's higher risk. Where this, you don't have that because you're not dealing with technology. Just buying boxes of test strip, it's pretty simple. It is what it is. You don't have to worry about technology, password lock, this, that. You just get the box, you look at it, you can obviously see if it's damaged, if it's crumpled, or opened or whatever, and you quickly check the expiration date, and so the deals are a lot quicker, there's less risk, and you don't have to, it's just less risk. So that's number 2. And number 3, repeat customers. I've got a little bit of repeat business in the phone flipping business, but not that much. Nothing like in the Diabetic test strips business. And the reason why is because a lot of these people, pretty much all of them, have diabetes, and so they're getting prescription for these boxes of Diabetic test strips on a regular basis. And so every month my database is growing bigger and bigger of people that are coming back to me buying and because we've done deals before, they trust each other, the deals are real quick, and it's easy. So way more repeat business in this than in the phone flipping, where people aren't constantly buying phones all the time. I buy a phone maybe once a year, but these people with the Diabetic test strips, they're getting these on like a monthly basis, or once every 2 months, or once every 3 months, and so they're just gonna go and sell them back to whoever gave them the cash last time. And number 4 is the resale process is a lot simpler than flipping phones. Flipping phones, I always would sell them on eBay. That was pretty much the thing to do. And that's a whole other ball game in itself, selling on eBay with all of its other different problems. Where flipping diabetic test strips, I have wholesalers there's tons of wholesalers, and so I work with wholesalers, and twice a month, once a week, or whatever. Sometimes even once a month, just depending on how lazy I'm feeling. I'll just write up a quick inventory of everything I got, and my wholesaler would just PayPal me or send me a check for everything I got, and I don't have to deal with creating listings and all that stuff like that. Just real simple, boom, boom, get paid real quick, deal with one person, and super simple. Sometimes I do sell them on eBay. I've been experimenting more lately, actually, with flipping things on eBay just to see the difference in profit margin. But even selling them on eBay is a lot easier than dealing with flipping phones. I've actually personally never had anybody return a box of diabetic test strips from what I've sold on eBay. But with flipping phones, yeah, that would happen, and people would try to scam you. They would break the phone, and then they would say you sent them a cracked phone even though you didn't, and it was just a whole other headache where I don't have, when I do sell the boxes on eBay, it's so much simpler than it was for selling phones. And then number 5 is less competition. There was so much competition in flipping phones. It was crazy. I mean, there are so many. You just go on Craigslist and look how many people on there, how much competition you have. I mean, you got even eBay now is your competition, because eBay and Amazon are buying people's phones off of them. And so there's a ton of competition that you're competing with. And I remember it was just so annoying all the time. I would get these leads, and everybody's trying to negotiate with you. They want to get top dollar for their phone, and if you're not giving them top dollar, they're calling the next guy. And it was like constantly, every lead you got was a negotiation battle, and because everybody's just hitting up all the different people, seeing who they can get the most money for their phone, which I get it. I'd probably be doing the same thing. And so with the diabetic test strips, it's not like that. There is competition, but not near as much. And so, it's not usually a big negotiation battle. People, most of the time, there's no negotiating at all. People just accept whatever price that I tell them, and then they just continue to come back to me time and time and time and time again. There's not near as much competition like there was with the flipping phones. So, guys, that's the 5 main reasons. I could think of a lot more, but, that's 5 main reasons why I like the flipping medical commodities and diabetic test strips way more than flipping phones. You can make a lot of money flipping phones for sure, but as far as money goes and simplicity, flipping diabetic test strips is the way to go. That's the better hustle, in my opinion. I've done both, and yeah, I'm speaking from experience here. So until next time, guys, have a great day, a great week, a great month, a great year. Let's make it a great life. See ya.